Good morning. I hope everybody is doing just wonderful and cheery. I'm actually talking from home this morning as compared to being at the studio. I've been asked to explain first how I end up creating things, and then tomorrow morning we'll actually be creating them. So if you're not interested in this sort of process, might as well, skip this one. Tomorrow will be far more exciting. So the first thing was I was asked to create a set of stacking, so they fit inside of each other, Tudor kitchen bowls. And my first step then is to figure out, okay, what exactly does a Tudor kitchen bowl look like? And I should back up just a bit there and say, I try to work from the archaeological record, not from the art museum record, because the archaeological record actually shows what people used as compared to the art museum, which is the unique and individual items. So I'm trying to recreate the day-to-day use project or objects for people. So where do I start? Well, number one is we all take a look on the internet to see what images look like. I'm biased. I use Bing. I don't use Google products. And I do a search on Tudor kitchen bowls. Of course, there's a lot of crap. Find things that I'm familiar with as a baseline. Next, now I have the actual books that I'm using. I go through and check some resources. There's an author out of England, Peter Brears, who does cooking and dining books. And on the I will amend the document that I've posted to include full titles. But there is the Cooking and Dining in Medieval England, and I know these come out backwards. I'm very sorry about that. There is All the King's Cooks, Tudor Kitchens of Henry VIII, Hampton Court Palace. And Hampton Court Palace will feature inside of that next bit that I'm looking at as well. And the Cooking and Dining in Tudor and Early Stuart England. These are all hefty tomes. They have great recipes. They have some interesting and good products in them. Unfortunately, kitchen bowls are far too boring for any of these books to have base images. So then, thinking about the Hampton Court cooking, because they have a great video series and show the process for quite a number of recipes, I go and take a look at what they are displaying in their kitchens, because it's a British historical site. They will have the correct items. So I'm looking there again at what are the forms of the kitchen bowls that a person is seeing. I have links to some sample videos, and because they're showing very, very nice bowls. And what we're talking about is a bowl with a flat bottom and slant sides. So not a traditional modern kitchen bowl that is a continuous curve going up both sides, but slant walls, straight and sharp corners at the bottom. So it is something that is a little bit different. So now I have my baseline idea of what it is that I'm looking for, what it is that I'm going to be creating. What's the next step? I go to the archaeological record and the next set of books, because we all love having lots of books on our shelves. There's a long-time standard that is medieval English pottery by Rackham. Fantastic, black and white pictures of very interesting period pots. Again, no cooking pot, no kitchen bowls. Actually, no cooking pots either. So, but it has great mugs, great jugs. Next thing that I look at is a very nice text by McCarthy and Brooks, Medieval Pottery in Britain, 900 to 1600. Kind of matches the SCA period exactly. And so what I'm looking at here is at the drawings. This shows why I want to use, and specifically that pot right there. This is why I want to use the archaeological record. This drawing shows me what the inside would look like, the wall thickness. What does the foot look like? What does the rim look like? And if we're wanting to recreate the actual pot, this is giving far more information than a picture of an object from a museum. There is no idea how thick or thin the wall is, so we don't know the weight. We don't know really much about the composition of that object. So this text comes up with a number of good examples showing that flat-bottomed, angular-walled kitchen bowl. Also, a Museum of London publication. Museum of London, if anyone gets to London, fantastic museum. It is strictly about the history of the city itself, and they have a great archaeological program. And this book is just about Sandy Shelley wares and the grayware industry. Unfortunately, the downside of this text is that it's, and I'm not sure you can see these very well, but about the clay body itself and how the clay is actually put together, what's inside of the clay. And the other thing that it really loves are rims. These are all different rim styles. Archaeologists seem to think that you can date objects based off of the rims. And I'm an archaeologist. I've written the articles, or an article, that talks about the importance of rim design. Now that I've become a potter, I'm not thinking that the rim design is all that important. But we did find in here, why did I look at this page? Nope. I didn't find an example inside of this book of the type of bowl that I wanted to do. Finally, I go to journal sources, because scientific journals are valid, scientifically done, peer-reviewed journals are a valid way to do this historical research. Two that I use a lot are the Medieval Ceramics Research Journal, and I've downloaded most of their PDFs. And there's also an organization called the East Anglican Archaeological Society. And in the document that I posted, I've taken some images out of those, and they show flat-bottomed, slant-walled kitchen bowls. Again, it's about the drawings showing relative wall thickness that has a lot of value in the recreation of these objects. And my final source that I go to is I start looking at museums. And because I like the Museum of London especially, I've put up some links to 3 of the objects in their collection which match this product that I want to make. So tomorrow, what I'm going to create is a set of, maybe even 2 sets, let's hope, of 3 nesting, so they stack inside of each other, Tudor kitchen bowls. The walls are relatively thick because you want a kitchen bowl to have mass. You want it to be able to stay in one place. You don't want it sliding all over the place. They need to stack inside of each other so that they don't take up too much counter space. And so there, what we're going to do is match up the distance of the base of the smallest one in the outer base of the smaller one to be smaller than the inner base of the next size up. And the same with the rim, and the height to be appropriate so that the smallest one is shorter, but it still doesn't fall all the way inside of the one in front that's bigger than it, because it needs to be right about at the same height, maybe a little bit higher than where it would be, so it's not completely flat. People need to get their fingers underneath it. And what else was I thinking about there? I lost that train of thought. I'm very sorry. But tomorrow morning, starting at about, let's say about 7:30ish, I will actually be on live throwing, and we will hopefully create these 3 stacking kitchen bowls. And who knows how many it'll actually take, because I haven't thrown in a while, and I won't have practiced before then. Thank you very much. That's how I go through and decide how to accomplish what I'm going to make. Again, we start off with a generic web search. I hate Pinterest, by the way. Pinterest is horrible unless people actually tag information about where the item is from. 2, look at the archaeological record. Inside of that, we have both book resources and journal resources. And finally, also looking at museums so that we're covering the base of saying, is this object reasonable for the time period, the place that we're actually wanting to give it credit for being from. Thank you much. Have a great morning, and hope to see you all tomorrow morning. Have a great day. Oh, and if you have questions, please toss them in, and we will also be doing more of these in the future. Take care.